Good afternoon, everyone. Before we begin our Yizkor Memorial, a few words and thoughts from the president of our congregation, our distinguished president, Marc Eiseman.
Gemar Chatima Tova. I hope that this year we will all be inscribed in the Book of Life and will stay healthy and safe. In years past, I have ruminated over the Kol Nidre appeal for the several months that precede Yom Kippur with the hope that I could come up with a topic. Throughout the years, I've shared with you my journey through revelations about my ancestry and how it helped me better understand the bridge that we represent between the past and the future. The other common theme in all of my past appeals is the challenge that I've always had about asking for money to support the shul. Suffice to say, as I stand before you today, I will not be shy about asking for your support. Let's start with the ancestry theme. Throughout the past 7 months, many of the conversations and discussions regarding COVID have been preceded with the phrase, "in these unprecedented times." I never gave it much thought until a month or so ago when I came to the shul. I sat up on the bima in the seat of honor that I've been privileged to occupy for the past 12 years. As I looked out on the empty seats, I began to tear up. Compare that with the first time I walked into the sanctuary about 9 years ago when we had completed the renovation. I was accompanied by Seymour Lopato. As we gazed at the completed woodwork surrounding the table where the Torah is read, we both had tears of joy in our eyes. Last month, however, my tears were not tears of joy. They were the culmination of the realization that life as we knew it had changed. The emptiness before me was heartbreaking. For some reason, I was drawn back to a time when our ancestors experienced the destruction of their way of life, the way that they worshiped. I refer to the destruction of the Holy Temple. It wasn't the destruction that raised my emotions. It was how they responded to their unprecedented times. During the summer, we observe Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, and we chant the words of "By the rivers of Babylon," Al Naharot Bavel. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat and wept as we recalled Zion. They were exiled from their homes. The way they worshiped was torn asunder, and yet they never gave up hope of returning to Zion. Rather than fading away over generations, rabbinic leaders helped reshape the way they and we worship. They no longer had to come to the Holy Temple in order to worship. Worship became decentralized. They could pray to God from wherever they were located. A few thousand years later, our way of worshiping has by necessity also been altered. We have not been exiled from our homes, quite the opposite actually. But we are witness to the same notion that we do not have to be physically standing in the sanctuary in order to worship together. What binds us together is not the building or the sanctuary, it is our community, our friends, our fellow worshipers. As the hour of Yizkor approaches, each of us latches on to memories of loved ones who are no longer with us. What lessons will you hold on to? Allow me for a moment to share my personal lessons. This past year, my father passed away. By example, he taught me the importance of preserving the Jewish community. He knew that his life was drawing to a close. In his hospital bed, he told my younger brother to make sure that the pledges he made to a number of Jewish institutions where he spent the last 66 years of his life were satisfied. Keep the community alive, even when I am God. was the message. Today, we are faced with one of the most challenging crises of many of our lives. I cannot candy coat what I am about to say. The coronavirus has brought the Lake Success Jewish Center close to being on its knees. All of the revenue from Bridge has been lost. Revenue that made the difference between the shul surviving and struggling. Not over a period of years, but immediately. As a community, we must do whatever we can to help support the shul during this crisis. We have a collective responsibility at this point in time to throw out the concept of what many know as transactional Judaism. Why should I pay for my holiday seats if I cannot physically be present? When I heard responses like that, I was terrified and sickened. In the past, as many of you know, I have stood in front of you and asked for your help and your money in order to survive. This year, you need to forget about what you will receive in return for your contribution. You joined the shul to be a member of this congregation and community. It is now your responsibility to support it. Give what you can, but please give something. As many of you know, Ellery and I will be moving in the middle of October. It's hard to believe that I have been president now for 12 years. During that time, we as a congregation have shared so many things together. We've worshiped, shared simchas, mourned, and made decisions that help preserve our way of life. When we gathered in the parking lot last week on the second day of Rosh Hashanah, I had an opportunity to see some of the young men and women who it seemed only a few short years ago were standing on the bima observing their bat and bar mitzvahs. They're about to become teachers, doctors, businessmen, and women. They came back here, the shul where they grew up. At the same time, I saw some of our youngest students who over the years have given me the greatest joy. Nothing made me happier than to have them climb up on the bima and sit next to me in my chair, or even replace me completely on the high holidays. The intensity in their faces as the shofar was sounded will forever be a reminder of how rituals that we all observe and help propagate become part of the life and experience of our younger generations. Being president of a synagogue is not always an easy task. Many friends have asked me what I get out of it. I've always said there was no greater reward than during the high holidays. To look out on the congregation of 300 to 400 people, shake hands, or share a hug together was the fuel that I needed to recharge my batteries every year. I wish I could be telling you that there will be a smooth transition of leadership and that we're on firm footing. The reality is we are not on firm footing today, and we must address the next topic of my appeal to you. We are actively engaged in discussions with Little Necks Lador Vador. As those on the merger committee are acutely aware, we approach our discussions with them with great urgency. Our goal is to preserve as much as we can and to make sure that the Jewish community that we are part of continues. Through the magic of Zoom, I'll still be able to work with our merger committee when I've moved to make sure that we can have the best possible outcome. Before I close, I need to thank those who have worked the hardest to keep us functioning. Rabbi Klayman, Shmuley, Malki, and Mel. You've been the thread that kept us together. In concert with each other, the rabbi and cantor have managed to create an entirely new way to reach out to congregants. Frequent Zoom sessions, recorded services, phone calls. They're all just a small piece of what they have done to keep everyone connected as best as possible. Members who could not physically come to shul are now able to join in our new way of worshiping. Malki has been able to provide the technical and creative support to make it all look easy. To Mel, who is like a brother to me and a fixture of life here at Lake Success, thank you for your caring and hard work. It has indeed been an honor to serve as president for the past 12 years. It's not a job that I could have done without the support of my loving wife, Ellery. The memories and the people that we have created friendships with, who have become family to us, will forever remain in our hearts. During the week, you'll be receiving pledge cards. Please consider my parting words. This shul has been here for you when you needed us. We now need you. Be generous and make sure to send back your pledges as soon as possible. As in the past, it is fitting to close my remarks by thanking you for your generosity, your continued support, and membership. On the cornerstone of the building is the expression, Hashem oz li'amo yitain, Hashem yivarech et amo b'shalom. May God give strength to his people and bless them with peace. May you and your families be inscribed for a good year full of health, prosperity, and happiness. Stay safe. Shana Tova, Gemar Chatima, and thank you.
Thank you, Marc, for your words.